when you heal others, you get healed in the process. When you serve others, you are the most happiest person in the process of serving others. The school system, is a linear form of education. Oh, this has to be done first, then this chapter, then this period, then this class, then this year, then that year. That's bullshit. You know, your creative juices are killed, when you go through a linear way of education. And I'm not saying it's no that you should not go for school education. You should. I mean, if it is in my power, I don't think I'm going to send my daughter to school. Yeah, my wife is listening to me, in the other room. I don't think school is required for her. I think, what real education is required for her by learning through the five senses. Yeah, we have got five senses through which we learn, okay? We are all visual people. If I say tiger, you see tiger in your brain. You don't hear tiger, you see the tiger. If I say pencil, you see the pencil. If I say phone, you see the phone here. We're mostly visual people. Then there are people who are auditory, they hear sound in a different way and learn from it. And there are people who are kinesthetic. This movie Tare Zameen Pe, acted by Amir Khan, where he takes that boy's hand and writes on the hand. He takes his finger and makes him write on the sand. Walt Disney, who created Disneyland, was kinesthetic. That was his dominant way of learning, by touch, by feel. They need to be touched, they need to be hugged, Some of my students, when they come to my advanced courses, I spot them out who they are, when they need kinesthetic. And that's why, I touch them, I hug them, more than other students comparatively. And then there are people, who also learn from sensory. They may not be dominant, but, the smell, you learn from it. The taste, you learn from it. We have got five senses of learning. And most teachers, they only trigger the auditory part and expect you to understand, what they're teaching you. And that's why they go wrong. You got to adapt as per what your student want to learn as, then rather than, giving them what you think, would work for them. So coming back, there's nothing wrong in terms of going to school, because most Asians, most Indians, school is the biggest thing, the biggest highlight of our life. Exams are the biggest highlight of our life. Kids commit suicide, go under a lot of pressure. Your report card marks, doesn't define your success in life. It doesn't define how much money would come into your account. I can tell you, with my personal experience, I know at least 100 people, 100 people minimum, who probably did not go to school. And even if they went to school or college, they were very bad student. When it comes to the schools. But the number of figures they have in their bank account is pretty high. The number of properties they own is pretty high. I can tell you this for sure. So coming back, guys, this is a little boring today, maybe, because I'm touching on something very deep. For some of you, if it is boring, then it's okay. Leave, my friend. I'm not your teacher. This may not be relevant for you. But if you are intrigued and you want to learn more and go deeper with this, understand the linear fashion of education doesn't serve us anymore. And we are so much like a monkey in our brain. We jump from here and there. We check like millions of, I don't know, Facebook status, WhatsApp messages, this video, that video. We're jumping up and down all the time. That's what the brain is. And if you want to teach me in a linear fashion, I'm struggling for most people. It works for some people. It does serve, 10, 20, 15% of the community. And then they go on to become great, whatever, scholars and intellectuals. That's okay. But why just focus on that 10, 15, 20%, while let go of the rest 80%? They have creative juices. There's a genius inside them. There's a craft, there's a creativity, there's a painting, there's a music, something amazing inside them which needs to come out, and we just push it. Saying, what? Oh, no, this doesn't fall under this bracket, this box, this piece of shit box, which we all go through. Our parents, project our limitations on us. I mean, what an irony of life. My father was a taxi driver. He used to drive, first he was a conductor. Well, I think first he started as I can't recollect the term, what they use. It's like the guy who's responsible to clean up the bus and take care of, the driver and the conductor. I think, in Bengal, they call it Khalasi, something on those lines, who supports the driver and the conductor. And then he got promoted, to become a conductor. There are a lot of funny stories, of how he used to get down, from a running bus, pick up the papers and get back in the bus again. And then from conductor, he got graduated into a bus driver. And eventually, he bought Ambassador Taxi, on very high interest from the Mahajans, because it was not a bank loan. It was a personal loan, pretty much. So yeah, he would be so scared of me not becoming a taxi driver, in my life. He would not let me sit in the driver's seat. Even, when I was a teenager, and I just wanted to sit for the excitement. I wanted to drive, because I want to flash around, maybe, go on a drive for a few kilometers, use the car, with a bit of a fun. Yeah, my father would never let me allow me to touch the steering of that Ambassador. He was so fearful in his mind that he would think, what, I will become a taxi driver one day. Can you see, that what can be seen as a skill, in one format of, let's say, background. Let's say, if you are from a good middle class family or upper middle class family, or you're from a rich family, you got 2-3 cars, sitting outside your house. That's taken up as a skill, if you can learn how to drive and drive, those extra cars, or I don't know. But if you have a taxi driver's son, driving is a huge problem, because that father is thinking, what, if you start driving, maybe there's a very high chances you'll become a taxi driver. And I don't want you to be that. So, wow, we project our limiting beliefs, on our kids and on our, youngsters. I don't know, even your elder brothers, sisters do that to you. Even your teachers do that to you, not intentionally, maybe unintentionally, without knowing it. But that doesn't serve most people. We go into this limitation, we lose our voice, we become somebody else. We show up in the world, acting somebody else. And that's where everything goes wrong for us. So coming back, this is what I want to share here today, guys, that if you want to become a great speaker, find your voice. Be yourself, the easiest thing to do and the hardest thing to do for most people. Simple. When you be yourself, the world will become your oyster. And again, remember, I have already said this many times. स्पीकर बनने के लिए ना आपको सिर्फ इंग्लिश बोलने की जरूरत नहीं है. हाँ, आप ऐसे एक देश में रहते हैं जहाँ इंग्लिश भाषा नहीं है. आप देखते हो, मेरी हिंदी में भी दिक्कत है. इंग्लिश सिर्फ एक भाषा नहीं है, लैंग्वेज नहीं है, एक स्किल है जो एक्वायर करनी पड़ती है. अगर आप कर लोगे एक्वायर, तो चांसेस आपके अच्छे हो जाएंगे. फॉर अ बेटर जॉब, फॉर अ बेटर बिजनेस, फॉर अ बेटर रिलेशनशिप. या you don't know this. If you speak good English, you can get a good rishta. Very high chances. It's interesting, My wife did not know that I have done a master's, MBA, until almost, 1 year from our marriage, pretty much, maybe more. I never mentioned it because I don't think it's any achievement, in my understanding. It's a piece of paper. And I took some help, to get that MBA, to be honest. I did not do my dissertation personally. I had some idea. I took some help with some people who can research very well, go deeper into the content. They pulled out the chunks for me. I put the pieces together and it became my dissertation. That's how I got a master's, in business. It's a piece of paper. It helps, for people to see me as a credentialed person to learn from. Then why not? Let's do it. If that's what is required for me to become a teacher trainer, I would do it for my students. It's okay. So this is, my thought today. I have no idea, how much you resonated with it and was it valuable for you or not. If it was valuable, then let me know. Write down your comments, share something about your life. I'm sure most of us have gone through a similar journey. If you're an Asian, if you're an Indian, there's a very high chance. If you're an African as well, there are very high chances, that you've gone through a similar journey. Your career, your profession, your job is not chosen by you.